It is just a huge honor today to be podcast interviewing Dr. Jeff Sindelar and Dr. Matt Kraner. All of us are UMKC grads. You guys graduated in 2006, right?
That's
so
right.
You've done 10 years. And the reason I wanted to have you on the show is you started something that I think is really, really cool, an in-office. Would you call it an in-office discount plan, or what do you call what you do?
A membership plan.
A membership
focus on
plan.
the membership model. Yeah.
And the reason I'm really excited about this is I've never had an original idea in my life. I mean, I wanted to be a dentist because my next door neighbor was. I've always studied the Fortune 500 billion-dollar publicly traded companies and say, what are they doing that we can bring down to our little podunk dental office? And I noticed that dentists are always addicted to advertising. When I got out of school, advertising was taboo. 10, 15 years later, everybody's saying you should spend 3% of your collections on advertising. Now a lot of the consultants are saying 5 to 7. And it just doesn't make any sense to me, because I see new patients is you have one hygiene chair and the new patient is just sitting there with a coffee pot pouring coffee into it all day long, and the patient's going out the back door just all day long. And you say, okay, well, if a hygienist worked 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, she works 2,000 hours a year. So she could clean 1,000 people's teeth twice a year. Well, how about 30 new patients a month? Every 3 years, you'd add another hygienist.
Right.
So then you go to some small podunk town in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, and this old boy has been in a town of 5,000 getting 30 new patients a month for 10 years, and so is one hygienist. Then 20 years, and so is one hygienist. 30 years, and so is one hygienist. 40, and then you walk up to this bastard at 65 and say, dude, what do you really need? He goes, I need new patients. I'm like, dude, you've gone through everyone in the town. And then I look at like Costco. Costco says, we're not going to advertise. We're going to have a loyalty program. We're going to say no one can shop at Costco unless they become a member. And then when you buy a membership, you're loyal, and you think, well, I gave you $100. I'm a member, so you'll give me better prices and be deal. Amazon has Amazon and Amazon Prime. Amazon customers buy about $500 stuff a year, but their members buy $1,500.
Right.
And I've been telling, look at the airlines. Look what credit cards. Look at the Chase card. They got the Star Wars man. What's that guy? What's the guy that was in Pulp Fiction, then Star Wars, and Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, they're like, keep our card because you have all these benefits and loyalties. Everybody realizes we want customers for life. We don't want new patients coming in every month and burning and churning new patients. And I see these in-office discount plans as a loyalty program. Do you?
Absolutely. That's the main focus of what we're trying to do is, even as we have doctors that are onboarding with us, it's all about new patients. We have to make sure that as we're getting new patients in the front door, that they're not walking out the back door. And that's the whole point of the loyalty and bringing value to that membership so that they want to stay with us and not go out and kick other tires. So that's totally what it's all about.
Well, the research I've seen from the ADA is that 40% don't do dentistry because of cost, and this addresses cost.
Absolutely.
And 38% don't do the dentistry because they have no idea that they need anything. Because the doctor said there's like, you need an MO and a DO and a PFM, and you have irreversible pulpitis, need endodontic therapy. And then the physician writes them a prescription in Latin. 1/3 of grandpas throw the prescription away as they walk out the door. And researchers are picking them up saying, why did you throw this away? And he said, I don't even know what it's for. And it's written in Latin. I mean, just what if it just said, if you don't take this blue pill one time every day, you're going to have a stroke and be paralyzed on the right side and not talk. And then he'd say, oh, shit, I better take the blue pill every day. Doctors are still Latin, Greek, so cost. So well, first of all, how did you start this? Tell us your journey. How's it working for you?
Yeah, so the journey was, Matt and I, partners in this venture, along with Dr. Whitford, too, who's not here with us today. But
what's his name?
Josh Whitford.
Is he also UMKC?
He is. Yes.
WIDFORD?
That's right.
So Josh, you say Josh?
Josh, yep.
So you three all were classmates.
Right.
That's right.
And then you all went back to St. Louis.
Right.
And then...
well, Josh is actually in Kansas City, but the two of us are in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And so we've always kind of collaborated through the years since we've been out of school 10 plus years now. All through the years, we've collaborated, shared ideas on phone conversations, 11 o'clock at night, sometimes dealing with issues. Matt brought the idea of in-office membership to us, and he said he was talking to us for about a year or two, and you even say now that it was a great idea that just never was coming about. So Josh and I actually started looking into other programs, met with a whole bunch of people, and we liked what we saw. There were definitely great features to what we were seeing from all the programs that are out there, but we wanted to do something that looked like it could compete with all the other products that consumers are buying, the dental insurance products. But we wanted to focus on that membership. But what I mean by a product that looked good is slick materials, a website that functioned well, and really
And your
focus on the
website
value
is
pieces.
MySmileAdvantage?
Right, MySmileAdvantage.com. So, what we really wanted to do was to bring more and more value to the table in our program. And that journey led from the three of us just working on some websites. We have some now a couple satellite offices. And we thought, well, we'll just design this for us and we'll make sure that it looks good and it's a great product. And as we did that, we approached classmates, colleagues in the St. Louis area and beyond and said, hey, what if we did this together? Because that was one thing that we saw with the other programs is maybe there was exclusivity or there was lack of marketing for it. Because, yes, of course, we want to focus on our patients in the office so that they don't leave and retain all those so we don't have to keep on going through that whole new patient process. But we realize that new patients are still part of what we patients leave for multiple reasons. So we do need to focus on new patients. So we said, why don't we do this together and figure out a way where we can pool our money or resources and get this out to the consumer at large because they're not aware that they can even do something. And there's a huge need for this. Seniors, as we've been doing this now, in my practice, I've been doing it for nearly 2.5 years with 450 patients plus that are part of my patient base that are part of this. And it's very difficult for there, even among my patient base, it was challenging to tell them that this was an option. And now it's just part of the daily conversation. We convert people from insurance plans or that don't have insurance, not sure what they should do. And most of those people, senior citizens and the employed without benefits, all day long they're looking for a solution like this. But when they're not our patients and we're not spending the time within the practice, they need to know outside of the practice how to get a hold of this. And that's, as we've started to grow in numbers and definitely concentration. St. Louis, we have a lot of GPs, but we've even brought on specialists. So, if we're talking about the Costco model and all those extra perks that you get with the airline industry, well, SmileAdvantage, one of the things that we've been able to do is bring specialists on board to extend a discount outside of our four walls.
Okay, so what does an endodontist in St. Louis charge for a molar, and what would it cost if the patient had SmileAdvantage?
So it usually costs $1,200, I would say, for a molar root canal in St.
By
Louis.
an endodontist?
Yeah.
And then what would it cost by a general dentist?
It's probably maybe $100 off that, maybe $1,000 to $1,100.
$1,000 to $1,100, which is kind of bizarre because when I ask a dentist, 82% of the dentists take PPOs. And you ask them a price. So someone calls your office, how much is a molar root canal? Or how much is a root canal? They say $1,000. And you're like, dude, 82% of all your root canals you did on a PPO plan for $600 to $800.
Right.
And then I say, well, what part of your practice you want to build? Cash. Okay, so when someone calls with cash, you quote them a price 40% higher that you don't get 4 out of 5 times. So that endodontist, you said charges $1,200, and how much would he get with if she had SmileAdvantage?
So it's a 10% discount is what the
So
specialists
it's a
are
10%
offering.
discount.
10%.
That's right.
And then what would be the discount be for general dentist?
So that's the beauty of our plan too, is we don't ask any doctor to do a specific discount plan, so they can do it within a range. But most of our doctors are between 10 to 20%, with the sweet spot being the 15%.
So the specialists are 15%.
Specialists are 10.
Specialists are 10%.
Specialists are 10.
And then the family doctors. I don't like general dentists. It's not a consumer term. No one looks at a dentist and says, "Oh, you're a general," or "You're a general dentist." The consumer always says he's family practice.
Yeah.
So a family dentist is given 15%, and the average PPO plan is a 40% reduction.
Right.
So I think it's actually insane if you do 80% of your practice as PPO, to be charging your cash patients 40% more is crazy, because the people that are shopping around on prices don't have insurance. And if you're not making money at $600 to $800 on a molar root canal, and that's 80% of your root canals, then why are you doing them? You're obviously making money. So why are you quoting over the phone $1,000?
Right. And so even within our practices, those PPO patients don't even realize they're getting the discounts they're getting. It just, I think they don't even value the plans that they're on, and we're taking a huge hit for that. Yet we hear that all the time, that they don't want to sign up for something like an office membership, the cash doctors that are fee for service. Yet I would wonder how many are going out that back door because they're not giving them incentives to stay.
And a lot of dentists just say, well, I'm going to drop all my insurance plans. Okay, you do that, but I have podcast interviewed 650 people, and 50 of them have been dental consultants, and they've all said that almost everyone they've seen done that is just financial disaster. Mm-hmm. Because there's two types of companies, those that work to lower prices and those that work to raise prices. And if you're not trying to figure out how to do what you do faster, easier, better, cheaper, and this is using your walnut brain to make it 15% cheaper so that you'll sell more goods and services.
Well, yeah. So, and when we're selling that, I mean, a lot of my PPO patients that are trapped in those networks, the Crown of the Year plan, and they're just doing individual treatment. What I've seen with nearly a 90% acceptance rate, we keep track of that in my office with these with our SmileAdvantage patients, 90% acceptance, and that's presenting multiple teeth and doing quadrant care and doing things without the barriers of a minimum allowance, or that you can only get that within a waiting period. So we remove all those barriers, and people start accepting treatment, and they're accepting treatment when now the PPO patient that doesn't realize they're getting the discount, that fee-for-service patient, when we're announcing and making it very well known that they're getting a discount, I do that in my treatment plans. I show them the full price, and then I show them their SmileAdvantage savings as I present that treatment.
And the worst is about 10% of my practice is free. That's just damn family. Friends and family. My only set of tomorrow Monday, my first set of 4 wisdom teeth. Free friends and family. Can SmileAdvantage get rid of all the free dentistry you do on friends and family? Like if your mom has this, will she have to pay the 85% fee?
No.
I want to get my mom signed up for SmileAdvantage, so she'll start paying for it. Okay, so this is Dentistry Uncensored. So brutal details, costs, money. How's my homies? You're talking to a lot of homies right now.
Yeah.
What if they went to mysmileadvantage.com?
Right.
How does this work? What does it cost?
So they're paying a membership fee. So they're paying a $299 fee.
$299 what?
$299
a year.
per month.
$299 a month.
That's correct.
So how much is that a year?
So about $3,600.
Okay, so $299 a month, $3,600 a year. And then what are they going to get from mysmileadvantage.com for $300 a month?
So there's a lot of things that we do. We provide initially all the printing that they need. We provide them with enough to service 100 patients. Printed materials, we make sure they get a landing page. We do build out on SEO on their landing pages for them. So that's one of our marketing techniques, is really taking advantage of the Google.
You put that on their personal website?
No, we give them each a microsite. So everybody gets a microsite that can be linked to their website and vice versa.
We recommend that it's linked
Right.
to their personal website as well. So they'll have SmileAdvantage.
And that's interesting, because a lot of people, when they try to increase their SEO, try to put on their website, they do root canals, fillings, crowns, all this stuff like that. And a lot of the SEO experts tell me that patients are actually searching the dental insurance plan. So if they have like Delta, they're searching dentist St. Louis who takes Delta. And a lot of dentists don't have any of their insurance information on their deal.
Right.
So for $299 a month, you make them a microsite.
Correct.
And what does microsite mean? I'm 54.
So it's like a mini website that still has a lot of information that is unique to that individual practice. It still has the brand of SmileAdvantage, so that way if they land on that, they know their SmileAdvantage. Just to keep that brand recognition flowing, but then they can individualize that as far as procedures that they do. And then so that microsite, where we talk about SEO, we can start building out, if the docs choose, we can start building out things that they do too, Invisalign, sedation dentistry, and we can build out those sites. So that way if somebody searches for, in the zip code, any of those procedures, maybe they've done a great job on their own site, and they'll show up on that first page. But now they also have a mini website that's been built out as well, and now they can have 2 presences on that first page rather than just the one. So there are so many benefits beyond just the in-office membership when we're building out things that are unique to that practice.
Okay, so you're 37. You're all 37, right?
Yep.
So you're not a millennial. You're a Generation Next, or what are you guys technically?
Generation Why Not? Is that what we?
You know which ones you are? You Generation Y?
I think we're like.
X.
I think we're X.
We're not millennials.
Well, how many of
We're
your
not millennials.
how many of your Generation Next dentist friends do you know take no PPOs?
Oh, having done this and just surveying the land, I'd say really all my maybe 1 or 2 that I've come across.
Yeah.
And
they're always in towns of like 5,000 or less.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're in, half of America lives in the big city, and half lives in rural. In the big city, you just don't meet anyone that doesn't take this. So this is I just think this loyalty program is amazing, upcoming. So more embarrassing nitty gritty details. How many dentists are doing this? How many states are you in?
So we have about 120 offices that are participating. We're in 15 states now.
Those are the red states.
That's correct.
And you don't have Arizona.
We don't.
And you're big shout out. You're here this weekend at Spear Center with Samir Puri.
That's right.
Who was my partner for 10 years. Did you know that?
Kidding? No.
Yeah, so when I started Dental Town, it was in 98, and Zach was, how old were you in 1998? 3? And Zach, I'm sorry, your father doesn't know how old you were in 1998. But anyway, a lot of the townies were asking for an annual meeting.
Okay.
Which you guys should go. You should go and hang out with all the townies, because you go to
great.
Vegas at the townie meeting. It's April 19th to the 21st at Caesars. If these guys are doing it, they'll be talking about it on Dental Town all day long. That would you should go to a townie meeting and talk about that. But you're down here with Samir Puri,
Right.
and on Sirac, and how's that course going?
Oh, it's great. We've learned a lot. He's
And
a tremendous teacher.
when are you leaving?
Tomorrow.
What time are you leaving tomorrow?
I think we're leaving
10,
10:30.
I believe.
At 10?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was going to say, you ought to try to pitch this to my office manager,
Okay.
Robert. His email is robert@todaysdental.com. I know we've been looking at a couple of these plans, and
Sure.
so let me more nitty gritty dentistry and stuff. Sorry about that, Zach. More nitty gritty stuff. I know what my homies think. I know how they think, and a lot of them are thinking, "Dude, you don't get it. You're in St. Louis. I'm in conservative, red state, Texas, Georgia's, Alabama, insurance commissioners, some dental offices. I think Comfort Dental had their own in-office plan, and they had to. Some of the states had different regulations, all this stuff. So." Am I going to sign up for this, then have the lawyers or the state board or the insurance commissioner coming after me, or have you thought about all those things?
And I think that's why, we definitely have. I think that's why we've...
Thanks, Zach.
Maybe, we've been doing this only for about 18 months, where we've actually been with the public. We know other programs have been doing this much longer. But we're taking our time. So we don't just enter into a state. If an office calls us from another state, we do our due diligence. We make sure that we contact everybody. We're in Canada now, so we spent a little bit of time talking with all of the royal government guards that are
Really?
that way to make sure that it was okay. And what we're doing and how we're doing it is to make sure that $299 a month. There's no when we're talking. So we're in the early stages. We're talking about actually. Insurance agents that want to be referring agents. They want another product under their belt. And there's going to be no fee splitting. So of your $299, that money is going to go towards commissioning them for their work.
Fee splitting is a very illegal deal, and rightfully should be. What fee splitting means is back in the day, before the board's got on this, if you referred you to an oral surgeon and pulled out his 4 wisdom teeth, he might give me 10% of the money back. The problem with that, obviously, is say a physician referred all of his short, fat, bald grandpa patients to a cardiologist, and he did a $100,000 bypass on each one. They don't want an economic incentive of why I'm getting a bypass or getting wisdom teeth. So fee splitting is a license taker. And so that's what he meant by fee splitting.
Yeah, right. So we want to make sure that
There's a lot of kids listening that are dental students.
And I think there's still a lot of confusion around that. What states allow it, which don't? Because we want to make sure that this can be a product for every dentist. I mean, we're only going to be successful if we do this together under a branded name and consumers know about it. So as we enter into each state, we want this to be successful. We don't want to knock on the door by an insurance commissioner or the Delta board shutting us down. You know, we're in Illinois, and our program director has been scouring that area and bringing on new docs in the area, and we're finding that a lot of them offer in-office membership, and they have no idea that in the state of Illinois they are required to register with the state. It's a process. We've been able to tweak that process and know how to work through that system for the offices as we onboard them. But for all the offices that are out there that aren't giving their $1,000 to the state of Illinois, they're doing this illegally.
And another thing to look at, though, another way to look at that is when you're dealing with the United States, you think it's United States. But it's really like the EU. I mean, the EU is, 20-some countries all rolled up into one, Germany and Italy and all that. And the United States, car insurance, health insurance, one of the biggest problems is regulated state by state. And that's one of the reasons our health insurance is so expensive. And that's why all these commercials like Geico can say, oh, he switched to Geico and saved $619 because, well, what state are we talking about? You know, I mean, there's so much state by state stuff. And why would you help the dentists in Canada? I mean, those people aren't even moral because really, Canadian dentists are immoral because they fix teeth all day long, and then after work they support hockey, which knocks out teeth all night long. I mean, how can you be a dentist and promote hockey? Does that sound right?
Yeah, that didn't occur to us when.
Yeah, I love it. I love
drum up
it.
business on
In the Phoenix Coyotes, it's so funny when during those games they're building a brand new stadium too, right up by the house. We need to get season tickets to the new stadium. When they pan the bench, nobody has a K9 to K9. I mean, it's just, and then after the deal, they're up there doing a press conference. They got all these beautiful teeth, and just they flipped in their partial.
That's right.
But so tell me case studies. What happens to dental offices that have done this? What are your homies telling you?
Erickson's office in Texas.
Yeah, so Jason Erickson, who's down in Dallas, we do a lot of. So what do we give in addition to? So we do Facebook promotions, and we do things that all the offices can have. So behind the curtain, we're coming up with ideas to generate more and more flow throughout that practice. And so we asked the offices to use those ideas. Jason Erickson used some of the ideas and also has been really promoting this throughout his practice. We got a report back from his team at the end of this January, and they said it was the best January that they've had on record because of the number of SmileAdvantage signups that they've had. So they just a very noticeable difference. We have another doctor in St. Louis. She's having tremendous success, those 40% plans. She works really hard to get down to plans that maybe you only write off around 20% on her top 20 procedures. So the ones where she can't really negotiate that or work hard to do so, she's taking those patients and instead of just slamming the door on them and saying, I don't have anything for you, she's spending the time to talk to them about how they can convert over to something like this when she's no longer going to be able to take their plan. So she's telling us that she's had tremendous success just with the retention piece as she converts out of those PPO plans. So we have new patients signing on, down in Dallas and St. Louis. We have, conversion of patients that would maybe otherwise leave because you're no longer taking their insurance. But yeah, so, I'm able to keep track of a lot more of my, case acceptance because I can watch that in-house. But to see 90% acceptance rates and to have 450 patients out of a 2,500 patient-based practice, and 450 of them are, fee for service or membership loyal patients.
And we're starting to see the renewal year over. We're both over a year now. And so the patients that are signed up they're at their year point, and we're seeing that they're continuing on.
What's your renewal rate?
So ours is like 92%, something like
Well,
that.
there's a big psychological reason why this works, though, and so in our industry, it's a female industry. I mean, 90% of all the appointments are made by women, and let's be honest. If you're a woman and you saw a $19.99 oil change, so you go to the oil change place, and then some man, it's always a man, walks out and says, well, you know what, we did your $19.99, but you really need to change your air filter and your power steering fluid. And what percent of the women think, I don't even believe you. I think
Right.
you're just saying that to make more money.
Probably all of them.
All of them. So then the woman's air conditioner goes out, and she calls the air conditioner heater guy, and he comes out here and says, you know what, I went out there, I can't give it a shot of Freon. You need a brand new air conditioner, it's $5,000. What percent of the women say, I don't even believe you? What percent?
The majority.
All of them.
Right.
So what the research is clear is that when you send someone, here's a coupon for a free cleaning exam and x-ray, and then they come into you, and then you say, okay, here's a free cleaning exam and x-ray, we did it. Oh, by the way, you have 2 cavities, and they're $250 each, so you need to give me $500.
Mm-hmm.
She's thinking, oh, I get it. Free cleaning exam and x-rays, now you want $500, and I don't even have a problem. So there's just no trust,
Right.
especially when you sell the invisible. And women you flip it around with a woman, you say, you give me, how much would this plan cost her?
In my office, we have it $349 for adults. And
$349
A year.
for an adult,
for annually, yeah.
for one guy.
That's right.
And how much for a family?
For a family, in my office, some offices are choosing to do that. Maybe they have a family of 4. I think there's offices that are doing it at $9.99. We still individualize it.
But you're in
because of what
St.
we're
Louis, so it's all Catholic. Those families all have 8, 9, 12 kids.
Right.
There's no family of 4 in Catholic St. Louis.
I haven't.
Did you find one?
There's a few.
There's a few.
There's a
Those,
couple. There's
them
a
are
lot.
what you call Lutherans. them are the Protestants. But the deal with mom, if she in mom's head, well, if I give you money, I don't want your free cleaning, and I don't want your $19.99 oil change, and I don't want the free cleaning exam x-ray. If I give you $349, then I have trust that since I gave you money, that now you're going to treat me better. That if I sign up for Amazon Prime and pay them $99 a year, Amazon will give me better prices. If I go to Costco, not anyone go to Costco. Anyone go to Walmart or Kohl's, but to go to Costco or Sam's Club, I'm going to be a member. And then it flips around in mom's brain that, well, now I actually do trust you because you're a man and I gave you money. And I gave you money so that you'll treat me better. And I trust this because I have a lot of friends that have Costco cards, Sam's Clubs, Amazon Prime. And the minute you say, whenever a man says free to a woman, she's like, oh, this is going to not turn out well at all. There's no trust, especially, when you buy bottled water or an iPhone, it's not invisible. You know what you're buying. But when you walk in and the guy says, I need to change your transmission fluid, well, how do I know that? Mm-hmm. When you say I have 2 cavities, how do I know that? Everything we do is invisible. All of our customers are women. And I don't care if you're in Kansas or Kathmandu, or I was just lecturing in Malaysia, Cambodia. No woman trusts a man anywhere on earth. For 2 million years, you've been beating them over the head with a club, making them second-class citizens, not letting them drive their car. There's never been a woman president. They don't trust men. And that's why I think women dentists are just going to have a huge advantage. Because I think it's so funny how so many young women dentists sit there and said, well, the older doc, he just goes in there and says you need 2 crowns. They say, okay. I tell her she needs 2 crowns, and she argues with me half an hour. I said, that's a badge of honor. Mm-hmm. She's not going to raise her hand at church and ask the priest a question or a rabbi or the doctor, all this stuff. But she trusts you. So she's communicating with you. Same with staff. I mean, a lot of women staff say, those women give women doctors so much more grief than their male doctors. I said, because they're afraid of their male doctor. They don't trust them. They don't want to talk to him. They don't want to communicate. Sure. So now you're all bent out of shape because they trust you and they're communicating. That's what monkeys need more of is communication. And I just think these are, I consider this, the only secret to lower prices is lower cost. Southwest Airlines, #1 airline. IKEA's #1 furniture, Walmart's #1 distributor, Costco's #1 grocer. Smart people work hard to lower the prices. Here's a way to lower your prices 15%. You lower your price 15%, you're going to sell more Southwest Airlines than American Airlines. It's just end of story. If you don't like the fact that your prices are 15% lower, then lower your overhead 15%. And the best way to lower your overhead 15% is raise your treatment plan acceptance. If you pay all your rent, mortgage, and build out and staff, and it costs $1 a month, and you sell $1 to the dentistry, then your overhead's 100%. Sell $2 to dentistry, now it's down to 50. If you have a loyalty program, a membership program, an insurance program, and it raises your case acceptance on top of your fixed costs you already paid anyway, then your overhead's going to go lower. How do you think this has affected treatment plan acceptance?
Oh, for me, it's been huge. We see that all the time. So, I was using the example of putting the treatment plan in front of them and showing them all that I recommend and letting them know that here's your price with that discount. It's great. You have this story of the mom that came to you, signed up all of her kids, had to do orthodontics, went to the specialist outside of the practice. And what did she say to you at that time? That was pretty impressive.
I had a young family, and the mom had 4 kids who needed ortho.
Catholic.
And, maybe. But yeah, so it just worked out very well for her. She knew the kids needed ortho. We had an orthodontist that we worked with that was a part of SmileAdvantage, and so for those kids, just her signing up for the plan and getting that discount at the orthodontist more than paid for the membership in my office. So it just worked very well, and the specialists that we talked to, they love it. They are almost always writing off, much more than that. Like you said, 40% on the PPOs. Most specialists in our area of St. Louis, they take just about every PPO. It's very rare that they don't. So if we can send them patients that are SmileAdvantage patients and they know 10%, if that was their entire practice, they would be thrilled. And so, they're really enjoying it as well. But as far as the case acceptance and the treatment acceptance, what I find to be most beneficial with the patients who are SmileAdvantage patients is when you put the treatment plan together, you know exactly what's going on. The patient knows exactly what's going on. There's no confusion. There's no worry that the insurance is not going to pay for the crown that they need. Whenever I'm getting ready to do a procedure on a patient who has SmileAdvantage, I don't have to freak out that I didn't get a pre-op picture, that's going to justify what I'm doing. I know that, this relationship is between me and the patient, and we've worked this out, and that's really reassuring. It takes a lot of the pressures off of what dentists are typically facing, and there's a lot of paperwork. We talk about how many team members offices have to handle insurance. So these dentists have, sometimes multiple team members, and all they're doing is dealing with the insurance side. Where I can have,
and that was a problem with the that was sad for Obama and the Affordable Health Care Act. They always have the big bleeding heart. Well, let's get everybody covered with no pre-existing conditions and insure your kids till 27. That was great. That's just great stuff. But they didn't do one damn thing to lower costs, and 1/3 of the cost of healthcare is freaking shuffling paperwork.
Right.
And that could have, and if they just would have put a task force to say, like a lot of these other countries, everything's on your insurance smart card. So you get your card, you go in there, you swipe it, and they know everything about you, your plan. Where we have the number one expensive thing, labor, calling your insurance company labor and talking about what's covered and not. It's just bullshit. They didn't do, and that's always the Democrats' same problem. They always got a great big bleeding liberal heart, but they never have any eye on cost.
Right.
And so you're saying that this is much lower cost because you don't have Shirley sitting there calling the insurance company and going through what you're covered and all, just all this stuff.
Well, and you're not waiting 3-4 months to get paid and look at what's happening in Illinois. We have dentists waiting over a year to get paid for their services. How do you operate?
How could that even happen? What's wrong with Illinois? Everybody's complaining about that.
They don't have money to pay anything out. It's a shame. So
why don't they have? And you know why they don't have money? Well, because if you have a job and you pay taxes, you get Social Security. But the 4 million federal employees and the gazillion state employees, they retire with Social Security and a pension. So they're double dippers. It's criminal. I mean, it really is criminal. Everybody with a government job in Illinois, so they pay so much of their budget goes to pensions of all these state workers that are retired who are already getting Social Security. I mean, why do they all get a special pension because they're in the government mob? And one of the ways this country could just eliminate a ton of debt to just cancel all those double dipping government pensions.
Sure.
And you know they'll never do it in a democracy.
Yeah.
But it's sad. There's several threads on Dental Town about what the hell. You know, there's a lot of dentists out there thinking, dude, should I still be taking? I mean, I'm digging a deeper hole. I mean, there's guys on Dental Town that were the Illinois owes them $1 million. And what would your advice be to them? Do you think they'll eventually get paid?
Well, I've noticed that we eventually get paid, but it takes a year, and there's a lot of. We talk about that relationship with our patients and the cause that they're fear. You know, if we're the ones stuck there in front of the patient that's dealing with what's not being paid, and so they take it out on us, the docs. We all know that. You know, we see that we're the front line, and they can't get a hold of anybody on the 1-800 number, or they're passed around from agent to agent. So we feel it. So, but yeah, I mean, we eventually get paid. But you know, I couldn't wait to pay my staff. I couldn't wait to pay my supplies.
So you guys both St. Louis, Missouri, or
yeah.
No, you're in Illinois.
No, I'm right on the border there.
So you take
I have
a lot
of patients that come across.
that come from Illinois.
Yeah.
So the biggest boy on the block is in Illinois, Heartland, Rick Workman, Effingham.
Right.
They got 1,500 offices. Do they do loyalty programs like this?
My understanding is they do.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
It's a different model.
Right.
And we didn't really research them too much because, you know, we've got our own way of going about things, and it's not.
You said you researched a bunch of other different models?
Yeah.
Any of them you want to talk about, or what they do different than yours, or?
Well, I think we started pointing it out. I think we've come across, and that's why we decided to do something on our own. Exclusivity. You know, there was this, that there could only be so many contracts. Signing contracts and you can't get out of it for a while. You know, those are things that we wanted to eliminate that from that marketing. You know, it's difficult to market. It costs a lot of money to market, so it's still at even $2.99 a month coming in from docs. There's still a lot there. You know,
so how are you marketing it?
We try to do most of our stuff.
So when they pay you $2.99 a month, you're marketing their deal?
That's right.
That's right. We market SmileAdvantage, but we're also, that's where we're using the landing pages of those small mini websites, the microsites. That's where we do a lot of marketing.
So you're marketing all digital?
Most of it's digital.
Is there any print component to it, or?
We do have print. We have pieces that they can receive, and they can also go online and fetch, and they can be customized for them. So
that they can print themselves and mail out.
We have programs and things that, you know, a lot of this is grassroots effort still. You know, if you're not willing to talk about it in your practice or within the community around you, then you're going to be.
And you know the one reason I always ask my guests how old they are, because you know it's easy to tell that, you know, separate the herd, boy girl. That's easy. Or race, like you're Chinese, I'm Irish. You know, that's easy. The hardest part is separating by how they think. Baby boomers, Generation X, millennials. You know, there's a lot of people walking around that think differently, and you bring so much bias to your thinking. Sure. And millennials just grew up on smartphones and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat, and they want to do all their marketing with that. Old guys, we just want to see the numbers. We don't, you know, you try not to be, your emotions bias you, but algebra and chemistry and physics shouldn't have a bias. And I still, every time I see someone who knows what they're doing and tracks the holy bejesus out of it, direct mail is still their biggest response. Mm-hmm. So you should be telling your franchisees, here's the mailing piece, customize it, direct mail. And the reason millennials are biased because they hate direct mail. Well, it's not about you, it's your customer. They're eco-friendly. You cut down a tree. Granted, 99% of it, you just walk it in trash and throw it away, but it's a numbers game. If you mail it to 100 homes and a home comes in, you look at the cost to mail it to 100 and you get a new patient, and what is the value of a patient? An orthodontist value of a new patient is about $6,500, but it's over a 2-year period. General dentist value of a patient is the same amount of money, about $6,500 over a 5-year period. And so if you mail to 100 homes and you get a patient in there, that patient's going to be worth 65. So direct mail. So I'd be telling your homies that everybody wants to just market on Facebook because that's the new sexy thing, and Snapchat's doing an IPO and all that, and
and we've been, to give a shout out to Revenue Well too. They've been very helpful with the email marketing campaigns that they've helped us to develop for our docs. Any of them that are using.
Explain Revenue Well.
So Revenue Well is just an email communication software that integrates into a lot of practices into your dental softwares. But it's basically text reminders, email reminders. But also you can develop campaigns if you want to promote a whitening special or a contest you're doing in your practice. Revenue Well is worked with us to develop campaigns that we can send out just like a direct mail, but instead of a direct mail piece in the mailbox, it's a direct mail piece that arrives in their inbox. So we've seen that a lot of the offices have had success with that.
Now, is Revenue Well only for dentists?
Well, it's dentists and their patients, of course.
But I mean, they don't do
I'm not aware of them
chiropractors.
doing it. I
believe that they do.
know other companies like Demand Force and
Vision or
I know they've done other.
And who owns Revenue Well?
It's Alex Nudell I know he doesn't own it, but that's who we're always working with.
Who is it?
Alex Nudell.
Okay, and it's an Illinois company. Is that a suburb of St. Louis?
No, I think they're closer to Chicago.
Bannockburn, Illinois. So revenuewell.com, you recommend?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. I've been using them in my practice for years.
And how does that work? I mean, how much money do you pay Revenue Well? How much is the contract?
Seems like the going rate. It's $2.99 a month that I pay them.
Is that where you got your $2.99 a
I don't
month?
believe any.
Felt
It
good.
seemed like it.
You stole it from Revenue Well?
Yeah.
No contracts, I don't believe, with them.
Right.
But it's a great tool, great patient communication, appointment reminders. It's a good program.
Yeah, we're able. If a patient's, they haven't shown up for their appointment, nobody picks up their phone anymore. So Revenue Well allows for you to type in
So
quickly.
what computer
text message.
softwares do they integrate with?
I know they smoothly integrate with EagleSoft. So Patterson's
Because it's
product.
out of Illinois, and that's where EagleSoft's out of Effingham, Illinois.
Maybe that's
So there's
the
probably a
connection there.
little inbreeding there. So EagleSoft.
I know that they've been successful integrating with Dentrix. Outside of that, I'm not sure if they're integrating with the others.
So
but
what price management system do you use?
I use EagleSoft.
And what do you use?
EagleSoft.
Yeah, because the Illinois Mafia, right? You just went over to Effingham. They probably gave you a free copy, didn't they?
I've had it long enough to where they charge for it.
Yeah.
I believe.
But but seriously, and all kidding aside, on Dental Town, the only practice management software where everybody is just screaming how much they love it is Open Dental.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Open Dental has raving fans. And by the way, I don't have any biases with any of this stuff. I mean, no one pays me money or gives me free wigs or makeup yeah, Open Dental has raving, screaming fans. And Open Dental reminds me of someone who's a vegan, or if you meet a vegan, they have to tell you they're a vegan within like 2 minutes. And I have lunch with more dentists. I mean, every month, and so many dentists that will sit down and just say, "Oh my God, we switched to Open Dental. Oh my God, that was the best." So
And they love it.
they love it.
Well, and so it doesn't matter what platform. A lot of these, I mean, as long as you're communicating with your patients and with intelligent software, and if it's making your life easier, I mean, that's. I'm always open to something that makes my life easier. EagleSoft is.
So you
easy
didn't get
now.
married and you didn't have kids?
Well,
That's our advice today. If you want to make your life easier, never get married, never have a child. I think
I've made that mistake.
you made both those mistakes.
Not a mistake, though.
4 of them. 4 of them myself.
You have 4 kids?
I have 4 kids.
We both have 4 kids. My God, we're both 4 kids. UMKC, bald dentist.
That's right.
So this is what you're going to look like in 15
I'm
years,
looking
man.
forward
You're
to it.
just going to fall apart. But
I see the resemblance already.
Yeah.
4 kids. It's just the hardest job you'll ever love. I mean, it's
Good way to word
It's
it.
worth every.
it's the best 4
minute.
decisions I ever made. But God dang, that's why when I look at these dentists that come out of school and they go, "Well, I don't want to start my practice. I want to get a job for a couple of years or this or that." It's like, oh my God! But you're pregnant. You dove into having a kid, but you're afraid to start an office. Just dive in and do it.
Sure.
Because that starting it off is going to be 100 times easier than having 4 kids.
Right.
But any kids for you?
Yeah, I have 3.
3.
Yeah,
Wow. So
3.
what are the ages of your 3?
Mine are 7, 5, and 2.
Oh my God.
10, 8, 5, and 3.
Wow. You guys are busy.
Absolutely.
So I wish you'd pitch my office. I mean, one of the things I like to do is, my office turns, I graduated 30 years this May 11 from UMKC, and I got my dental office in September 21. So September 21, me and my assistant Jan will have been there 30 years. But we always like to try all this stuff ourselves. I mean, it's always,
love that.
we always love that. And there are a lot of different plans.
Sure.
There are a lot of people doing that, but what you liked is no exclusivity,
Right.
no contracts.
Well, and as we grow that network, that membership base, getting agents that are out there that actually want to sell it to their clients.
Okay, so you're selling this to insurance brokers too?
We have insurance. We are in the early stages of getting brokers in the St. Louis area because of the size of that network to start going out, and we know that they're already pitching the product. So,
Have they started to sell it yet?
I'm aware of. So we don't necessarily, and we're working on software as well to track all of this. We wanted everything to be so in-house, but we understand the being able to charge monthly payments and
Well,
things
the thing
that.
that what you have to do is so you're in many states in Canada, right?
Right.
And what my advice to you would be is just try to put all your efforts in Missouri. Because if you want to have this sold by dental insurance brokers, the thing they're looking on the list is, one of the reasons Delta is always number one. Because they can walk in there and say, in any state, and say, 96 out of every 100 dentists takes my insurance. That sells it. That's what sells. That's that first mover advantage of why Delta will always be number one. And then you start looking at these PPO deals, and the employer thinks, man, that's a lot less money. But this one only 38% of the dentists take, and this one 36, and then 34. So as your critical mass tipping point, or like say you just focus on just St. Louis. I mean, just if you went to the St. Louis metro, or you need to get some market to test this on.
Right. And that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, St. Louis and
It's-
KC. That's where we have our biggest presence. But as docs are coming on, we're helping them to just do those simple things. I mean, the retention, the treatment acceptance. That's where, if you just use that piece alone, you're going to save so much money, save your patients money. They're going to value it. But as we grow that network, we're able to take that branded model concept and get agents. I said agents, but we have a gentleman in St. Louis right now that represents many associations and is a big deal among a lot of restaurant owners association, firemen association. He can pitch this to a large crowd in a hurry, and they're employed without benefits. So this is a solution for them in a hurry. So, but you're right. It's the network, and we have to be careful, right? It's not a network. It's a group of us that are just moving in the same direction under the same name. We're a marketing company.
You know what you should also do is on why aren't you talking about this on Dental Town? You guys are townies. I haven't seen you post any of this stuff.
Yeah, we need to. We should. We
So
will.
if you go to the Dental Town app, there's over 250,000 dentists on the PC, but over 50,000 download the app. And if you look at this little search bar here, I want you to appreciate that, because that search bar, for me, that's a Google box. So when you walk into Dental Town, all the servers are black, but one's yellow and says Google. That thing's 50 grand. So Google gives you all their search still, and I search in-office dental plans. And then it's supposed to be in 0.1 seconds. It searches through all 4.5 million posts, and these are the threads on there. So I hope you guys go in there and chime about that. If you are a dentist, you're registered on Dental Town, and you want to promote your lectures or whatever, you're allowed to start one thread. So you should start one thread that says, SmileAdvantage by Jeff Sindelar and Matt Kraner and let's keep that going. But but the fastest growing part of Dental Town is the private groups. So how many dentists you have?
We have about 120 offices.
So you could go into Dental Town and you can start your own private group. And then those 125 dentists you have the whole functionality. This thing's like 500,000 lines of code. So you have the whole website for free. And then your members in there could be brainstorming, because right now there's a movie out, and it's about the founder and Ray Kroc. And of course the movie makes him out to be not such a nice guy, and it's probably true. And Steve Jobs was another amazing asshole, but he made us the iPhone. So a lot of really crazy people. In fact, one of my favorite books of all time was How a Little Bit of Craziness Leads to a Lot of Success by the head psychiatrist of Johns Hopkins. Mind-blowing book. He just points to pretty much all the movers and shakers throughout the history of the world were crazy. Normal people really don't make history. You know what I mean? You got to think outside the box. It's a lot easier to be born mentally outside the box.
Sure.
But Ray Kroc always said, and I got to see him lecture when I was a little kid, but he said, McDonald's has their own R&D, and none of our products were ever hit. You're from St. Louis. That's where the fish sandwich was invented, because this guy on Friday night, back in the day, the Catholics couldn't eat meat. I mean, when I was little, every Friday night was macaroni and cheese and fish sticks and tartar sauce, and I still want to eat that every Friday night. And the St. Louis guy, so he pioneered the fish sandwich in St. Louis. He told Ray, I'm going bankrupt on Friday nights. And then it was such a smash hit that then all the McDonald's, and every time the headquarters comes out, something never works. So if you started that group, instead of just 3 of you guys trying to figure everything out, if you have all your franchisees, all your members, all 135 in a public group that says, hey, we did this on a Facebook ad and it worked, or we used this direct mail piece and it worked better, or this or that, right. And then they're on Dental Town, and then everybody on Dental Town has 3 or 4 followers from their homies, you know what I mean? So then they'll be telling, hey, you should join this group. So if you own your own group, whoever sets it up can accept or deny anybody into the group. So it's completely private group.
That's great.
That's
but
awesome
so that's something you should do. And I also think you should go to Caesar's Palace April 19th and 21, if for anything, just to get away from them damn 7 children between the 2 of you. But if you did that and got some of these private members to go down there and start networking in townies, because I don't know if a lot of you guys know the inside works of a lot of these really smart companies, but like say 3M. Every year, or Pulp Dent or Ultradent, they go on Dental Town and they see who has the most post, and then they give them plane tickets and hotel and say, come down here, because we don't want to talk to the 99% of the lurkers who just read, and that's in any website community. 99 out of 100 just read. Mm-hmm. Even on Facebook, say you have 150 friends on Facebook, scroll down, it's the same 5 people of your 150 friends that are posting all day long. And so townie meeting is all those extrovert, crazy posters, whatever. But you start networking the posters. I mean, get someone who has 5,000 posts to love your product. Then everybody's going to know about it. And that's what Dan Fisher, Denmat, 3M, Pulp Dent, they say, okay, here's the guys where everybody knows what the hell they're using. So I want to make sure they know what we have. And I want to give them free samples, and I want to bring them down here, and I want to try to get them on board, because you get one of those, because there's basically 2 types of people. 99% of Sapien wants to fly below the radar. They don't like transparency. They don't like checks and balances. They don't like anybody looking at them. But 1% is just born kind of nuts, and they're totally fine flying above the radar, living in an aquarium, showing you what they ate for lunch, what they use. Here's my root canal case. 99% of endodontists wouldn't post a root canal because they're afraid one guy would say, aren't you a little short on the distal? and then he'd be on Xanax the rest of his life. And then there's that 1% who just doesn't give a shit if you said it's short, because he just look at it like, well, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. It's free advice.
Sure.
So I would start a private group. I go do a search for discount dental plans, answer every one of them questions. Then when we post this podcast, I would make that your theme.
Absolutely. Throw us questions. Challenge us. I would.
How do my homies contact you? Is best to go to SmileAdvantage, mysmileadvantage.com.
Right. You can watch webinars. You can contact us. All of our contact information's up there.
So where are your webinars at?
The webinars are usually on. You can click on them, sign up for them. If some of the people. But do you archive them on your website? Yeah.
So if they went to mysmileadvantage.com, there would be existing webinars on there that explain all this.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And how often do you have a new one?
They're usually once or twice a month on Tuesdays.
You know, one way you could get around this without selling, the online CE is a huge function on Dental Town. So we put up, we started the online CE. We put up 350 courses, and they've been viewed over, I think, over 600,000 times. But if you had a deal like My SmileAdvantage, a commercial, people wouldn't do it. But if you did an online CE deal of like a loyalty programs, how to treatment plan acceptance, you know, and all that, and then work in your information while you were giving. Because here's my takeaway on why I say this. I know offices where this works very well, and they all have one thing in common. The assistant, the hygienist, the receptionist all get behind it. They're all talking about it. They all love it. And if some walnut brain dentist thinks he's going to go bring this to the staff and tell them to start doing it on Monday and they don't get it, they're not going to get it. Well, the way Sapien works is if I tell you about this, well, you're just a dumb fat monkey that lives up the street from me. But if 3 boys from St. Louis from across the country say it, you're an expert. You're only an expert if you're 100 miles away from home, and you need to make a lunch and learn webinar, online CE, whatever, so the dentist can say, hey guys, what do you think about this? I'll order pizza. And then you guys present how this helps the patient, it reduces the cost, it increases the treatment plan acceptance. And if someone they don't know fires them up and they get into it, it's awesome.
Sure.
But if you try to implement this without getting your staff on board, it's a no-go. Sure. Agree or disagree?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I hear my hygienist talking about it all day long. You know,
Yeah.
The reason why that we can take X-rays today. Yeah, my team's 100% behind it.
And try to get my Robert on board.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. Because I always have a jaded sense. Everything I'm doing is I want to do for my own dental office. Yeah, sure. I'm just not just trying to help my homies for free. I'm trying to always help my Today's Dental.
Yeah.
The legal name of my dental office that I started in 1987. The legal name is Today's Dental Prototype Number 1 LLC. Because I moved to the Epcot Center, and Epcot was experimental prototype community of tomorrow. And I realized that when I became a dentist, every old dentist I talked to, you know, when you ask them a technical question, they say, by the way, don't get too involved in whatever you're doing, because every 5 years you'll do it differently. It's just every 5. I mean, think about, you've been out of school 10 years. What % of all the products and materials you were using in the MKC do you no longer use?
Yeah, probably nothing.
And if you had prostate cancer, would you want to go to some oncologist who was using the same chemo he was using 10 years ago?
No way.
You know, so it's always a prototype, and you know, I go to work tomorrow. My first patient is a free set of wisdom teeth, but I'm just harassed. I love pulling wisdom teeth. I'd do it for free any day. Yeah. So I look forward to seeing what my team thinks about this Today's Dental.
Yeah.
I look forward to you answering those questions on the deals, see what your thinking are.
Sure.
And then every time we do a podcast, we start a thread. So we'll start that thread, and you're the guys allowed to start your own thread. Start a private group, and I bet you your 135 other dentist homies that are just like you might have more ideas than the 3 of you.
That's right.
On how to grow this thing in the future.
Sure.
And hopefully we'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you.
See if we can
bringing
get out of
us
the house.
in, so.
Now you got to give a plug to my buddy Samir Puri.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Samir is doing a great job. CEREC, by far one of the best products that we've introduced in our practices. And Dr. Puri has done a phenomenal job teaching us how to do it this weekend.
And him and T-Bone wanted to start the Townie meeting when my babies were little. I said, Sam, between Dental Town and Today's Dental and Fort Boys, I don't have time for any of this shit. And he said, well, how about me and T-Bone, we start it? But we want exclusivity. We don't want a bunch of Townie meetings. We just want one. So I said, okay, no contracts, word of mouth, not even a handshake. He was in L.A. and T-Bone was in Charlotte. And they did the Townie meeting for 10 years. And then guess what happened to them after 10 years? They were in the same boat I am. They had a bunch of young kids at home and their wives saying, you know, no. So they called me up and said, hey, will you take this meeting from us? So I've had it 5 years. And so now it's my meeting, and this will be our 15-year anniversary. But if it wasn't for Samir and T-Bone, there wouldn't be a Townie meeting. Love those guys dearly. And that is such the Kansas way of doing business. I mean, all on just a handshake. There was no lawyers or contracts or anything like that. Just good people. But Sirac is. But I want to switch over to Sirac because a lot of the kids are coming out of school, $350,000 in student loans, and now they got two boys saying, "Oh, drop another 150 on a Sirac machine." What would you say to that kid? I mean, how do you got 150 if you're married with 4 kids?
I mean, the financial side of dentistry is tough, especially for kids, getting out of school now. We're both fairly new users to Sirac, so 10 months. I've had it for 10 months. But I can say, it's been one of the best things that I've ever done in the practice. And I almost wish I would have done it years ago, but I'm glad that at the time I jumped on, the latest technology was right there. So, everyone's going to have to make those decisions on when and where to spend the money. But for me, it's been one of the most beneficial.
Okay, but you said it's one of the best decisions. But details, why? Why has it been?
Did
one
you
of the
say
best?
just as we were taking this course? You said that it's actually fun. It's fun doing it.
It is.
We can do things for patients. We're doing that stuff same day. I mean, patients. Again, we go back to what patients want. It's not necessary. Sometimes you have to buy things to do things the way patients want us to do it, and when it's a good product. So full disclosure. I was E4D for about 5 years before I switched over to Sirac here more recently. And Sirac is allowing me to do it faster, more efficiently, a better outcome.
So you've had
all the time.
E4D for 5 years. So that was out of Dallas, Texas.
Right.
And then the big monster Plan Mecca out of
Took over.
Helsinki, Finland bought it. Did
Sure.
you still own E4D after Plan
I did.
Mecca? Did you think Plan Mecca was going to make it better, faster, easier? Or you just after 5 years it was enough for you to just switch completely?
Maybe I needed a change, but I did notice that as I was being courted by Sirac and just playing with the 2 machines, I had both in my office.
So they were courting you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course. But I
And
was able to
Sirona?
use both.
Sorona and Ivoclar they're just genius. And I mean, Bob Ganley, he knows every mover and shaker dentist. If you don't know Bob Ganley, you're not a mover and shaker. Because if you were in cosmetic dentistry, he presses the flesh, quartz them. Sorona's amazing at that. And it doesn't surprise me that Mike Loggins and Incorporated
Got me, yeah.
got you.
But my team and just the way that we work with that machine, we're able to get that product out there, high quality and efficiency.
Now, are you going to get into placing implants?
Yeah, well, so I already restore them, and that's one thing to figure out how to even, that's the next course that we want to take is to do
Is that something you want to do?
Sure.
For sure. Like I said, we're both new to the program, so it's not something that I'm doing now. But the capabilities there, and we've seen it, and we've just got to take it one step at a time. So.
And the real answer to all these questions, like there's no. I got an MBA from ASU. There's no formula for the value of a house because you don't sit there and say, well, how many bricks are there, or how much concrete. The only value of a house is how much someone's willing to pay for it. And your CE should not be chosen by a couple of bald guys in Phoenix on a Sunday morning. It should be like, look at your patients. You should be creating a supply of what's in your office. If you see a bunch of grandmas with dentures and you think I could be doing some implant over dentures, so don't listen to other dentists far, far away. Just keep looking at your patients. And then what we always did is we had a prescription pad called Getting to Yes, and we tracked all of our no's. So if someone called up and said, well, do you do those implant overdentures? And you say no, okay, well, what is your name? And then you'd write it down. And we track that. So at the end of the month, so sometimes dentists call me up and say, do you think I should take this Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO? It's like, who am I, Dionne Warwick? How the hell would I know? Or are you saying, is someone asking you if you take that once a year, once a month, once a week, once a day? When people say to me, I got my diplomat in the International Congress of Oral Implantology, I got my fellowship in the Mission Institute way back in the day when they didn't even know anything about implants, it was panos, and, I look back, that was 30 years ago, but why did I start learning implants? Because I was looking at, wow, the girls up front who answer all the phones, they're First, it was one no. I was the first dentist, according to Omni, which was the first bleaching tray, to start selling the Omni bleach. It was like $900 for 6 bottles. I was probably the first because I was the only one dumb enough to pay $900 for 6 bottles. But again, it was from tracking. People call up, does Dr. Ferran bleach teeth? And I'm like, what do they mean? You know, bleach is like with a light and, you know, whatever. And then the next month I went, okay, so it was 0 for a long time. And then it was 1. And then the next month it was 4. And I'm like, what? The next month it was 9. I'm like, okay, stop everything. We have to figure out, what do they mean? Do they mean that you're going to come in and we'll put a heat lamp on them with the, you know, the peroxiders, just making trays? But you got it. So your continued education should be focused on getting to yes. How many times you say no? A lot of dentists say, I want 10 more new patients a month. Well, if you were tracking your nose, you're getting 15 people asking if you're open evenings and Saturdays.
Right.
So if you just did that, you get 15 more a month. Right. So that's what everyone should do, is just create a supply of what your patient's demanding. But I'm so honored that you guys are such hustlers, that you got families, you flew down here, you took a CE course, and before you flew out of town, you drove by my house to do a podcast. I always have a lot of love and respect for hustlers. So thanks for hustling on a
appreciate your
Sunday.
time.
On
Yeah,
a Sunday.
thank you.
And Zach, thanks for working on a Sunday, buddy.